What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So it appears that this topic of how long Gotham Knights is going to take you to accomplish everything within the game or beat the game in a sense is creeping up again. Just recently, there was a new article that was actually published that featured an interview that was done by Jeff Eleanor and Wilson Mew, who are both the game director and cinematic director respectively of the game. And it talks about the perspective in which you will be able to see things in the game depending on which of the characters you use. So pretty much that's just my way of saying you would have to play the game multiple times to see everything. Now, how interesting everything is going to look, that is quite arbitrary. I can't say or speak for everyone. I don't know what would happen by your second or third playthrough. I don't know if you're going to mix and match the different characters during your main playthrough, but you're probably going to somehow miss out on something. And I think this game puts you in a position where you go through that conundrum. So let's go ahead and look through this article. It was here written by Jonathan Bolding, and we're going to just kind of walk through some of the, really interesting points of all of it. So title of the article says Gotham Knights will take multiple playthroughs to see the whole story. Each of the Gotham Knights 4 characters will take their own path through the story. If you want to see everything, it'll take multiple playthroughs. Each character has their own perspective on the events on any given mission, which while similar, will contain unique content and subtle differences. Now, what is this unique content and what are these subtle differences that they're talking about? This is the opening of the article, and I thought it was quite interesting because when you think about it, you kind of have to ask yourself, is this something that is going to be immersive? How much is this going to affect the story from their perspective? Because I don't know if that's going to be so impactful in a sense that is to do much, but I guess what it is that we're going to be in for is it'll actually be nice seeing how, say, maybe the different characters interact with a specific boss. So let me give you guys, say, a small example. So some of you already got to see the, Red Hood, trailer, or the part of the trailer where they did the villain trailer where Red Hood, tells Clayface, I'm just here to, kick your ass. That's basically what he said to him. Now, we don't know if Batgirl or Nightwing or Robin is going to use that line, but my guess is they're probably going to use different lines, and their lines may be something that appeals to the fans and the audience members of those characters. And so that's definitely something that the developers are trying to highlight here. Who knows? It could be that as the, factor that they're pointing to. And so what this means in a gameplay sense is you're more than likely going to be getting a lot more out of this game than your very first playthrough, if that is something that you're interested in doing. And so when you, go back and think of if you were to look up, say, to play Batgirl, you're going to get Batgirl's version, said Mew. But if you play Robin, you're going to get Robin's version of that same scene. And some of them are very similar in how they do it, but you're going to have little subtle differences. Now, Gotham Knights is basically in a place where it's a novel approach for open world games that Warner Bros. Has produced about Batman in the past. And they're calling this game here kind of a cousin of it. So that's basically what they do. But I think what really catches my attention here is the mission structure in how they're going to actually set it up for all of the different characters. Because, again, I don't even know how we're going to, classify all that stuff. And there's another important aspect that I want to draw as well. There's another little cutscene that we were shown a while ago. If you guys remember, in that little gym in the Belfry where both Barbara and Dick Grayson were working out, and they had this little conversation. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that is actually maybe played from, one of the players' perspective. And I think it seemed like a Batgirl-driven, narrative cutscene. I wonder if that cutscene is going to be played, by, say, Batgirl being the one that drives that cutscene where she and, say, Robin are working out, and then Robin is the one that probably has some issues and he's confiding in her. And then there's going to be the Red Hood version. But people that are playing as Barbara, what are they going to see? I guess that's another question that you can kind of ask yourself that drives this kind of conversation, to see that there might be a lot of story dynamics that has people probably playing. So for those of you who are playing on PC, you're probably going to be using your game files to kind of track along with this, because it's going to be very interesting for a lot of us to see how this kind of all unfolds. I don't know. I think learning this premise and looking at it from this perspective sounds a little bit more interesting as to the way the game is going to be structured. This game is just super huge. As much as I've said that it might have been a better stance to make maybe a Nightwing game out of this game, or to have made a Batgirl game out of this game, I think what the developers were trying to achieve might come to fruition as we start to unfold what this game is about. You know, there are aspects that are up for criticism. I mean, I've seen a lot of people criticize, Red Hood's Mystic Leap. In fact, I still even didn't know that there were people that were not necessarily as satisfied as I would have thought about Robin's teleportation. But again, these are some things about preferences. In fact, the Nightwing glider is throwing a lot of people off because for some it would have been better if he just glided. And honestly, I haven't said much about this Nightwing glider. It is kind of funny, but I have seen the comic origins and I've made a video about it, so I can't really argue too much against this because it's there in the comic somewhere and they took it. But at the end of the day, I would love to hear your thoughts about all of this in the comment section. How do you think they're all going to interact with all of these different side missions, where they communicate with one another in the Belfry, and how they actually interact with different missions and side missions? I think that's probably the biggest weave of this game from a gameplay design perspective. This would have taken a lot of work for a game designer and, for the people who work in all of these different facets of this particular game to have done. And I think that's good work that we should commend them for if we see that it's a good system when the game comes out. So we'll wait till then before we start giving any congratulations. For now, I just want to hear your thoughts as to how you actually visualize all of this. So thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon. Peace out.